this is Riding with Ree. I've just driven to the yard from work and I'm going to go and see Woody, and I thought that I would take you with me. So today is due to be day one of our kind of official rehab, which will be walking in hand. And I've sat with the news now for quite a few weeks. Obviously when I told you it was still quite fresh. And I'm kind of ready to tell you a little bit more about what has happened since we last spoke, what is happening in the future with Woody's rehab, like what the plan is. And then I just thought we would touch on a couple of the emotional topics surrounding this. So this feeling of grief around what you're losing, that was something that came up when I spoke to a lot of other people who'd had similar things, and grappling with that feeling of grief versus the feeling of guilt of like, why am I so ungrateful? I still have my horse, etc., which is interesting. So I want to touch on that. The other thing I want to touch on is this idea of like keeping up your riding when your horse is rehabbing, and the immense guilt that I felt for even feeling that I potentially wanted to explore that, like with a share horse, for example, and the conversations that I've had with people around that. So that's it really. Today has been my perfect day. I started at 7 at the office. It's now 3 o'clock. I'm going to have a couple of hours with Woody and then I'm going to pick up work again afterwards. We were supposed to start his rehab yesterday, but he pulled a shoe in the field, so we're going to do it today instead. Let's not wait any longer. I'm going to go and get changed. I'm selling my work gear. I've got my bag of clothes, and then we'll go straight to Woody. Okay, I'm changed. We're about to go and get Woody in from the field. Before I do that, I do want to say a massive thank you to YFood, who have sponsored this video. This is one of their new flavours, cold brew coffee. But it really means a lot to have sponsors who stick with you through thick and thin, particularly in times like this. So a massive thank you to YFood. These drinks have 26 vitamins and minerals, and they're high in protein. They're designed to be a meal replacement. They have a vegan and a non-vegan range. This is, as I said, one of the flavours I haven't tried yet, so I'm going to give it a go for you now. If you want to try any of the YFood drinks for yourself, the discount code is RE10. It is in the description. And oh my god, that's really good. Okay, so I was expecting it to be like really coffee-y. I really like coffee, but I'm a proper coffee snob. This tastes like a latte with either a little bit of sweetener syrup or maybe like a touch of condensed milk. So it's like a latte, but it's like slightly sweeter. And I already can see on the back here that it has no added sugar, so it just tastes that good. So yeah, really good for those days when you want a bit of a caffeine kick, but you still want all of your vitamins and minerals. Let's go and get Woody in from the field. Recently, he's been doing half days, so he's been going out first thing in the morning and then coming in sort of midday-ish. And if you're completely lost and you've missed a couple of weeks and you have no idea what's going on, I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. We had some pretty devastating news recently from the hospital. So we've been doing lameness investigations with Woody for a long time now. And what they finally found when we finally got to the vet after x-rays and nerve blocks and workups is that Woody has fractured his pedal bone. He has side bone, and one of his side bone has fractured at the base, and the fracture's gone all the way down through the pedal bone. It's complex fracture and it's difficult to rehab. We don't know when this happened. I have my suspicions, but the vets can't tell me, and so it's difficult for them to know how far along in the healing process it is. And to add on to that, he also has significant arthritis in his hocks, which means that it's really unlikely that he will jump again. So it's pretty awful news, but the vet did say that given the fracture that they found on the MRI, hi Wood! You probably can't see him from there, probably not. That given the fracture he's got, he was astounded at how good he looks. So, you know, there's small wins there, but it does mean now that the next 3 months are sort of crucial, because the vet thinks that if we're able to make a change towards rehabbing, that it's going to happen in the next 3 months. Hello there, Mr. Wood. He had a bath yesterday, so he's looking quite clean. Hello, Mr. Wood. How are you doing? Hi. You're a good boy. You had a nice day. Right. Come along, Munchkin. Come along, Mr. Wood. Come on. So, yeah, so we're going to try and rehab. The next 3 months are pretty crucial. At the moment, he's on restricted turnout, We're starting in-hand walking today. The vet is coming back in a month to check him again. He's had his coffin joints and his hocks injected to make him more comfortable, and we'll be trying him on a supplement as well. And then if the vet thinks he looks good enough to do walking with me on him in a month's time, then we'll start that at a very sort of low level, and then we'll kind of go from there. If she doesn't think he looks good enough in a month's time, he will probably have an extended period of rest, and then after that, I don't know. I really don't know. The vet thinks that 3 months is the amount of time it would take for a fracture like this to be able to be seeing like positive results. So if that isn't happening, then she doesn't think that it's likely that it will. I, of course, believe that he is so tough, and I know that a lot of people have had real success with extended time off and just time in the field, so I'm sort of willing to give it a chance. And he's been feeling so well that I'm really hoping that we can do it. So yeah, but she did say to me at our last visit that she thought the chances of him coming back to being a low-level competition horse in the next 5 years are pretty low. So it's a pretty big blow. I think what we have to hope for right now is that we can just get him back under saddle, and possibly hacking in our future. But I don't know really if, you know, dressage, come on. I don't know if dressage is really going to be something in our future anymore. And of course no jumping because of his hocks. So yeah, it's a lot to take in, but I'm in a much better headspace than I was a few weeks ago. Mostly because of you. You're so good. He makes it so easy because he's such a love, aren't you? Oh, he's just so great. You're the best boy. So because he had a bath yesterday and because they're now out naked, I don't need to give him too much of a brush. So I'm just giving him a quick flick with the dandy brush, a quick go over with my hairbrush on his mane and tail, and then we'll get straight out into the field. I was lucky enough a few months ago to be gifted from Leo Vet with a bottle of the 5-star detangler. I've tried many detanglers on his tail because it's so thick, and this one is by far the best. Apparently you're supposed to spray it in, let it sit, and then comb it out afterwards. And it's one of the only detanglers I've found that has actually worked after a couple of days. So now I just put it in his tail about once a week, and it's been really good. So if you have a horse with thick tails, have a look at the Leo Vet 5-star detangler, would recommend. Right, so we're allowed to walk on grass at the moment, not on roads because it's a little bit too much concussion, and preferably not in the school. I put his bridle on because, as you can see, Woody is feeling very well, and we had to walk up a little bit of road to get here, so I have my high vis on. But this, look, seeing him like this is what gives me hope, because I think, well, he must be feeling all right, because look at him. Steady. Walk on. Ah, steady. Honestly, I was going to give you an update on how I'm feeling, but I might have to give him a few minutes to settle. Bear with. Well, he hasn't necessarily settled, but I think we'll give it a go. So, steady. One of the things, see, I have hope. Look at him. I think he can do this. So one of the things that was really difficult in the first couple of weeks, and even now actually, after hearing this news, steady, was knowing what you'd lost and not knowing what you might lose in the future. And I sort of would spin between feeling so upset that I would never take him cross-country schooling, that I would never jump again, that I would never do any of the goals jumping-wise. I hoped we would, because, you know, the vet had said that we wouldn't jump again, and I trust her opinion. And I would swing between feeling really upset that I'd lost it, to then feeling incredibly guilty that I wasn't more grateful that I still had my horse, and that I could still potentially ride them, and, you know, all the things. And somebody messaged me one day on Instagram and said, I hope that someone has told you that it's okay, steady, that it's okay to grieve Woody, whoa, that it's okay to grieve what you've lost, because it is a bit like grieving. I'm so sorry, I'm gonna have to come back. This is comical because I'm actually talking about something quite serious, but he's feeling so well. It's like being with a stallion. I'll come back. They're also rolling the fields around here with the tractors, so he's sort of just looking around a lot. But anyway, so she said, I hope that someone has told you that it's okay to grieve what you've lost, as well as feeling grateful for what you have. And I just thought that was really lovely, because it is a kind of grief when you lose something like this, even if you think it doesn't feel as bad as it potentially could. So I thought that was lovely. I will come on to the second part of this, which is keeping yourself riding fit whilst they're rehabbing, in a moment, because frankly, I've got a stallion here. He's gonna pull my arms off. Bear with. Right, we're back in the safe and sound. The only other thing I wanted to touch on was when we first found out about the rehab and, you know, how long it might take, and I haven't really ridden anyway. Haven't ridden since March, and then before that he had 2 more months off, and then almost February as well. So it's been almost since last year that I've ridden. And so a couple of friends of mine were like, oh, are you going to ride something in the meantime? And my immediate response, like my gut reaction, was like, no, it wouldn't be fair. I don't want him to think that I've given up on him. And like, I felt really guilty for even thinking about it. And as I do with these things, I put it on my Instagram, and the perspectives that you all shared were like completely different. You were all like, actually what you're doing is making yourself be sure that you're riding fit, so that when he comes back to being ridden as well, that you are fit enough to hold him up and help him out. And there was somebody who said that they had rehabbed their horse and they'd stopped riding, and that when they came back to riding them, it was like doubly hard because the horse was struggling and so were they. And I just thought that was a really interesting way of looking at it. So I put the feelers out just gently, and I have a couple of horses that I'm seeing this week, which I may ride once a week, possibly, just to kind of keep up my riding fitness. I'll still see Woody every day, still groom him every day, but hopefully it might just stop me from losing anything that I've learned over the last year. I felt like we got to a really good place, and I worked so hard on my symmetry. I want to make sure that it's all there when he's ready. So that's it. It was a really short vlog today, sorry, but I hope that you enjoyed it. I'll probably be doing less videos on here for a while, probably maybe once a month or twice a month, just because I just don't have as much to share. But if you want daily updates, they are on my Instagram at Riding with Ree, and I always use the YouTube community tab as well to give you updates on videos that are coming down the pipe, so it's worth checking that if you are on YouTube. Until next time, send him your healing vibes. I'm sure he'll appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for being here. Bye.